What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or I guess in this case, Modern Warfare 2 video. Since I'm on Xbox, I finally got my hands on the beta, and I do have to say now, it's fun at times, but it's still something that I do not fully enjoy. So about maybe 2 weeks, I have been practicing on the first Modern Warfare 2019 game. And, I have improved over time. I did work on some guns. I got the MP7 Gold, or I guess the QXR for all you mobile players out there. I got a lot of guns gold. I got the AK-47, the MP5, well, QQ9. Just a bunch of them gold. I'm kind of like working on my way to get platinum on at least one weapon class, which is the SMGs, which is the easiest, obviously. But yeah, I have been practicing. I have improved a little bit back on console. The only thing I dread now is going back to mobile because I know I'm gonna be shit, or it's gonna take me a little bit while to get readjusted to everything. But yeah, I'm gonna have a review here for Modern Warfare 2 beta. I'm not completely done with it yet. I still need, I think, like 2 or 3 more levels. I'm like at level 27, and I stopped because, dude, it is a lot to deal with. So there are quite a bit of positives and quite a bit of negatives. So first off, the maps. Let's talk about that first. So for the most part, with the exception of one map, it's a very good selection. It's a very good design. They're usually 3-lane maps, including the museum one, which is the one I don't like. It is 3-lane as well, but I would say that one is probably the worst one, mainly because I feel like the footsteps are at its loudest when you're in that specific map. And it's just the fact that it's a huge, wide open area. So if you're like trying to walk from one building to another, you're just gonna get shot down pretty easily. Don't get me wrong, aesthetically it looks pretty cool, but that has to be the worst map for me. In terms of the other ones, like the hotel as well as that the farm one, they're all right. Of course, they would be better if the footsteps weren't too loud, which I will get into. But overall, those maps are really solid. It's not that hard to deal with. Most of them don't camp, with the exception of the museum map. I think that's where most of the camping takes place. But in the hotel as well as farm, they're all right. It's quite a refresher to see because Modern Warfare 2019 had a lot of bad maps, and it was one of the core reasons as to why I didn't even want to play the game. But now, times have changed, and, the game's been a little bit more rushy. It's probably because no one's grinding for Damascus in that game anymore. So the maps are something to be appreciated in some ways. Of course, most of those maps did come to Call of Duty Mobile, so, in that game, they kind of make you cherish it a little bit more because, with a different engine, with no loud footsteps, you could run around a little bit more freely within at least that game. But in Modern Warfare 2019, it was too much. So as for the Gunsmith, it's not really that bad. I mean, you do level up your weapons pretty quickly. Most of them cannot reach the level cap for whatever reason. Like, let's say, for example, the Lockman SMG will only go up to, like, let's say, level 15, but it will never go up to level 16, which is the max level. This applies to every receiver for every gun that has that type of option. But even then, it doesn't really take that long to level up anything. I would say the FTAC Recon is probably the fastest to level up, and for good reason. Obviously, it's one of the more harder receivers to use. But it's kind of mandatory to work within those receivers to unlock every single type of attachment. So unfortunately, let's say you want to use a suppressor, you're not going to be able to unlock it if you're using a certain receiver. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but it's okay. It's not really that big of a deal for me. And even then, if you're going to level up that fast, it's, like I said, it's not really that big of an issue. I'm assuming that's going to be the way to max out your weapon when the game officially comes out to the public. However, we might have to keep in mind that the leveling amount isn't probably going to be as fast as it is right now in the beta. So when the game fully comes out, I don't really think you're going to level up your receivers that quickly. I think it's a little bit too easy. Although it does give you some hints on what the actual camo challenges could be. I mean, there could be challenges where you need to get long shots with a certain receiver, or you need to get headshots with, let's say, the FTAC Recon. I'm assuming it's going to be like that. But yeah, overall, the leveling system for the weapon's pretty fast right now. I'm assuming it's going to be slower, but pretty solid overall. Not really anything I would complain about. So now moving on to perks, they did change things up this time around. It's not like you start with 3 perks every match. You actually start off with 2 just very low level perks, like either Scavenger, Double Time, or just minor stuff like that. But as time goes on, you do unlock a 3rd perk in the middle of the match, and near the end, or I guess later on in the match, you do earn the ultimate perk. The ultimate perks are like the more powerful ones, like Ghost, Bird's Eye, which is probably one of the best ones for me. They have other ones, but they're not really that worth it to me. I think like Ghost and Bird's Eye are probably the best ones in my opinion. Ghost obviously keeps you off the map, and Bird's Eye basically radar sweeps for you. It kind of works like an advanced UAV, but without the real-time movement. So every enemy comes out as like an arrow, but they're not moving consistently. It's just every sweep you'll see them move around just slightly. It's nothing really crazy. It's just like a simple UAV, but instead they're arrows. So I would say it's very, very helpful, especially for a game like this with its really loud footsteps, which, like I said, I'll get into because that's my biggest complaint. Another positive, probably the last one, which might come to you guys as a surprise, especially with Modern Warfare games. Everyone usually complains about visibility, how they can't see the enemy sometimes, or they camouflage with the environment, but since the last iteration of the beta, which was last week, visibility has gone a little bit better. There used to be like a lot of smoke when you were firing, but now there's not. You can see your enemies much more clearly, despite the fact that you don't have any sort of name tags for them. But like I said, I don't really think in this type of environment or in this type of game, you don't really need it. But I'm assuming they're going to have it there anyways at some point. So now let's get to the negatives, because there is quite a lot. So the first one, obviously the elephant in the room, or I guess in this case, the mammoth in the room. Mammoths are bigger, by the way. Is the footsteps. The footsteps are loud as fuck in this game. They made some adjustments to make them less loud, but it's not really that noticeable. It's really caused this game to be very campy, and like everyone's sitting in the corner trying to sound horror everything. And that's kind of like the biggest problem. If your footsteps were just normal, or maybe as loud as it was in Modern Warfare 2019, this game would be much, much better. I mean, it would make it probably one of the better Call of Duty games, but just because of this one feature alone, it's kind of ruined everything. And yeah, the footsteps are unrealistically loud, and that's saying something because Infinity Ward focuses a lot on realism when it comes to Call of Duty, and they screwed the pooch on this one. Let's just say that the footsteps are unrealistically loud. I would tell you this much: no special forces today, like SAS, Navy SEALs, would ever succeed in a mission if footsteps were that fucking loud. Especially like those covert missions where you had to be stealthy. Like, how can you be stealthy when you sound like the Hulk? The reason why I say it's unrealistic is because, dude, you can't hear people past like 20 different buildings. I would go as far as to say that the whole multiverse can fucking hear you. It's like we're hearing sound from Piccolo's ears. I don't know if you guys got that reference, but if you watch Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo could hear every conversation on the planet. So that's basically how loud the footsteps are. They're just way too loud to be realistic. And the problem is that there's no actual way to counter it other than just being lucky, because sometimes it kind of leads to gunfights being random. That's another thing I'm just going to talk about later. But yeah, it's a complicated thing. And like I said, there's no way to counter it because Dead Silence is unlocked at level 30, which is like the max level for the beta. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of weird because I saw a lot of people run Dead Silence without being on level 30. I don't know if there was like this custom class, but then again, I've seen them with the Lockman SMG. So the only way to get that is if you use a regular custom class, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. The weird thing is that the devs did reply about Dead Silence, because they did get a lot of feedback saying that, they want Dead Silence to be a perk rather than just a field upgrade. And it's weird because they said that they don't want players to rush without consequence, or if anything, it would be too much of a crutch. But the thing is that even if it's a field upgrade, it's still going to be a crutch. Everyone's going to want to use Dead Silence anyways. So their argument really doesn't fucking make sense. But yeah, footsteps are way too loud. They need to tone it down because it's way too crazy loud. Hopefully they put it back to how it was in Modern Warfare 2019 at the very least. Because, I mean, yeah, it's becoming too toxic. It's making gunfights random. A lot of people are camping. It's creating too many issues. So the next issue I have is with gunfights. So the gunfights are really random. Despite the loud footsteps and everything, sometimes you'll be like shooting the enemy first, and for some reason they'll just knock you out like in one shot. Even if it's a headshot, it should still be like 2 or 3 shots, but for some reason I'm getting just killed in in like one shot. And even if I get into a gunfight with someone that has literally the same weapon and the same exact build, I don't know, they seem to kill me way faster than I kill them. It's like I have to fucking pour my whole mag into them while they just pour like one shot like on the fucking leg across the map and they still kill me instantly. And I know it's not connection because it would say on the side of the screen if I'm having some packet loss or any sort of connection issues. So it's not that. So I don't know. I don't really understand why it's doing that. It's kind of annoying in my opinion. But yeah, it's like even if you shoot first, it's never really guaranteed whether or not you're actually going to win the gunfight. I would say this, it might be a skill issue. I'm not really that sure, or maybe it could be an issue with the game. But yeah, it's kind of weird really, because there are gunfights where I know for an absolute fact that I should have won, and I just lose for whatever reason. And they're not even, sometimes they're not even hitting me in the head. Sometimes they're shooting me in the stomach. Sometimes they're shooting me in the legs. But for some reason, no matter how many shots I pour into the person, it never really seems to be enough. And there was even this one instance where I was literally shooting this guy first. He landed like 2 shots with his regular assault rifle, and he still had time to switch to his pistol and finish me off while I was still pouring shots into him. That was complete bullshit. So like I said, it could be a skill issue, but when I saw that, I was thinking like, shit, this might actually be a game issue. What convinced me even more was this one time, I think it was after I was done recording footage for the video, I was playing on this exact map that you're seeing right now, and I was actually at the entrance of the hotel, like right where I'm aiming at. And I was head glitching on the railing because there were like I think 2 or 3 people that were coming from the side. So I decided to just stay there and just wait for them to come by. And there was an instance where I poured like a whole mag into them. For some reason, the hit registration wasn't working, at least at that moment. And I ended up getting killed anyways. And this was something that I should have just easily gone the gunfight to go my way. There was no way I should have lost it at all. I did check the side of the screen to see if I was having like a disconnection with my internet, but no, I was fine. You know, it did take him a little bit of time to kill me because I was like reloading, but he had time to like run up to me and kill me. So yeah, I had enough time to see whether or not I was having connection issues. But yeah, it was a very bizarre moment. It was kind of embarrassing, really. So I know a lot of people were complaining about crashes for the Xbox version as well as the PC. For me personally, I only experienced like a crash twice, but it wasn't something, if anything, they were more of a relief because they happened in matches where like I was really struggling, especially in the museum map. Like that was another issue that I do have is the map rotation. I feel like most of the time it only goes to the museum map and nothing more. I was lucky enough to even get footage for playing on this hotel map. But yeah, dude, like they need to lower the rotation rates for the museum one because I hate that map with a passion. And I'm sure a lot of you guys that have played the beta so far feel the same way. It's not a good map. So the last issue that I do take with this game is the lack of variety with weaponry, especially with like the ones that you can actually level up. So like for the Fennec, I'm assuming the Scar, the Sniper, the Marksman, or I guess the MK2, they only stay to level 1. You can't actually earn attachments for those. But another issue is that each of the receivers for both the M4 and the Lockman are not really that great. You know, if anything, you're probably just good using just the regular weapon itself. Or at least with the Lockman, you could use the MP5 version or the assault rifle version. But I think it starts off as a marksman rifle, so you kind of have to like work your way into getting those receivers specifically. But in our reality, those are just the same weapons. You could just only use like them in a different way once you level them up. And the thing is that with LMGs, SMGs, it's like they're a gun that fits every category. So like what's the point of having all these different SMG, LMG categories if these assault rifles could literally just do all of that? And most of these receivers do their job pretty well, with the exception of the marksman rounds. I'll say those suck. But yeah, they kind of just fulfill the whole, like every single role in this game, with the exception of snipers and like I guess the bolt action marksmans. So yeah, I felt like there wasn't really a lot of variety. The attachments were okay, I will say that, but it sucks that you weren't able to unlock them for the other guns that didn't have receivers. It would have been nice to have like a Fennec with a suppressor or more stability, or even like the sniper with more ADS speed. But yeah, I don't know. It's like you could say there is variety, but not really because they're still the same gun fundamentally. And look, it's not to say that those weapons like the Fennec are not going to have receivers of their own. I'm assuming every gun probably will, but it kind of sucks that you couldn't get attachments for those. But yeah, I'm assuming that every weapon out there might have a receiver. I mean, LMGs might have receivers to make them more lighter or to make them a lot stronger. You know, like who really knows, right? It's still pretty early, and we don't get the full game until like a month from now, and like 5 days. But yes, there isn't a lot of variety right now, but I kind of wish there were just a little bit more variety in terms of attachments for the guns that don't have receivers currently. So the last complaint that I do have is not with the game itself, but with the feedback or how the devs actually dealt with the feedback. The thing is that, you know, with the beta, that's kind of what it's for. Like, they always want feedbacks from the players to improve the game. And a lot of people were talking about radars on mini-maps, or I guess the red dots on mini-maps, and even dead silence as a perk. They did focus on a lot of other things. One thing that they didn't do is like the footstep adjustment. You guys could say it sounds a little bit different, but not really. It's still fucking shit. But the thing is that with betas, you know, you would think that they would take your feedback seriously. But the thing is that they said no on pretty much everything that we wanted. So what was the whole point of the beta? Unless like you guys wanted us to like report the bugs to you, but like what was the point of, you know, giving them any feedback if they just weren't going to take it seriously? Because I'm telling you, with Dead Silence being a perk, and I mean, you could have us unlock it at the end. I don't fucking care as long as it's a fucking perk. As well as like red dots on minimap, that would insanely improve the game. It would make the game way better than it is right now. But they just don't want to make that change, especially for like for all the shittier players, like all the noobs and shit. But the thing is that they're already protected in their own bracket. You have skill-based matchmaking to have us placed with people of our skills, so the shitty players are going to be with shitty players. Like, isn't that enough protection? Like, that's the problem. I think they cater too much with the casual audience. Like, you know, with footsteps and everything, they're literally protected to the teeth. It's crazy. And the thing is that it's all at the expense of the decent players, the ones that like to rush, the ones that are more adventurous and want to, you know, explore the whole map and, you know, gun down people, every person that they see. But we can't do that with all these different issues in the way, with loud footsteps, no radar, no dead silence until the very end. Yeah, it's a fucking shit show for this beta, honestly. And I have not really been enjoying it too much because of these complaints. And I know a lot of people have felt the same way. And from what I understand, there's cheaters right now. So yeah, it's getting worse. So hopefully they get the ricochet to work, because of course people are going to use unlock tools to just unlock the camos for everything. And you know, now that I say it, it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. That means I would never have to really play the game and just get whatever Damascus camo that they have and just use it on Warzone Mobile. And that's really the whole reason why I got back into console Call of Duty. I just want to get the camos done so I could have something for Warzone Mobile and have all the attachments like the moment it comes out. That's the whole entire reason as to why I'm even playing this right now. But yeah, anyways, this is my personal review on the beta. I'm hoping that things get better for the main game. I'm hoping that they have like some sort of like shipment map, so you could probably make the camo grind a lot better. And I'm hoping that they don't make it too extensive, where you have to get like 1,000 long shots like blindfolded and gain like 1,000 hip fires with like using one hand or some shit. I don't know. Like, Modern Warfare challenges are always whack. I mean, if you guys played Infinite Warfare and even MW 2019, you guys know how bad the camo challenges are. So yeah, I just want to get this done and just go back to COD Mobile and Warzone Mobile when it comes out. So yeah, anyways guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD Mobile, or just, I guess, Call of Duty content in general, and I'll see you guys next time.